Hi, I'm Kendrick Diaz, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. For thousands of years, God has been pretty much silent. I'm not saying that he doesn't hear our prayers, that he doesn't answer them, or work awesome miracles in our lives. He does. But as far as making his presence known to the entire world, it's been a while. The last time was when he basically hit the reset button on humanity and sent a flood to cover the earth. That was God speaking up in a big way. You couldn't attribute that to some random natural cause, just divine intervention. But since then, God has been silent. He's put up with mankind and his disbelief for a long time. But that won't be the case forever. Matthew 24 is the Olivet prophecy, where Jesus gave his disciples different signs to watch for so they could know his return was close. The first few items he mentioned are things that have happened and continue to happen in waves. Religious deception, wars, famines, disease epidemics. Verses 9 through 15 discuss a time of terrible distress for Christ's followers and the people in Israel after Jerusalem is eventually invaded and conquered. Yes, for God's church and the Jews, it'll be awful. But for the rest of the world, guess what? They will carry on business as usual, like they have been doing for thousands of years now, not acknowledging the God of heaven. But in verse 29, everything comes to a screeching halt. Jesus said, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." God ceases to be silent right here. This event signals the day of the Lord. In other places, it's called the day of God's vengeance, or the year of recompense for the cause of Zion. It's the time when God is no longer silent. Revelation 6 gives us more detail about this event. Verse 12, "I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree drops its late figs when it's shaken by a mighty wind. Then the sky receded as a scroll when it's rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place." Talk about an entrance, and this is only the beginning of what God will do to make his presence known. And what about the people on earth when they see these things? Do they finally acknowledge him? Verse 15 says, "And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and free man, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, 'Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand?'" See, when God finally speaks up, people are going to be absolutely terrified. God is going to get everyone's attention. The question for you and me is, are we going to be one of those who are scared senseless when this goes down because we've been ignoring God? Or does God have our attention now? God's temporary silence isn't an excuse for us to go out and do our own thing and pay no attention to what he says in the Bible and scorn his commandments. No, God has a timetable for when he's going to intervene. The day is coming, and we need to believe that. Friends, this world is steadily advancing toward the day of the Lord. But the good news is, God has given us the precious gift of time. He's given us time to get right with him. We don't have to be like the people who are caught off guard when this happens because we have no relationship with God. Who knows? It might be too late to do anything at that point. God has given us time to straighten out our lives. So I want to close this episode by offering you a free resource. It's a booklet we put together called Change Your Life. You can read it by clicking the link in the show notes. There are things God expects us to be doing now, and he reveals them to us in his word. The heavenly signs in Matthew 24:29 announce a period of unprecedented destruction on a world that has gone astray and rejected Almighty God. But you don't have to be one of those people. If you change your life now, God will honor that. Psalm 50 verse 3 contains a short but powerful message for you and me. It says simply, "Our God shall come and shall not keep silent."
Verse by Verse is a companion podcast to the Daily Bible Verse blog, which you can find on the Life, Hope, and Truth Learning Center. Check out the show notes for more.